Welcome to the Dead Bedroom Revival Podcast. My name is Curry, your host, and today I'm very excited about making this episode because this is one of the things that is a major contribution to a dead bedroom. And I know I always say this, and that this is a major thing, but there's quite a lot of different things that contribute to it. But this is quite huge because it's one of those things that nobody ever talks about. And from the amount of books I've read regarding this subject when I was trying to resolve it for my own life, nobody actually touched upon this, and I actually found this out by accident. And I started realizing that there was a common theme amongst the wives and girlfriends as I was going through the forums. So I was part of Reddit and Reddit groups where there's dead bedrooms and all this stuff. And I was speaking to the guys. And when I started digging deeper into the day-to-day relationship, I started realizing there was a common thing that was a contributor to a woman having low libido. So besides the sort of campaign against sex that she's faced growing up, there's also another thing that can be a key contributor, and one of those things is actually the lack of tools to deal with anxiety. Now, the moment I've said that, some of you have just gone aha, because you know that when your partner has got no tools to deal with anxiety, they expect you to be the one that deals with the anxiety. So therefore, there's this weird dynamic that happens where they cannot handle stress, they cannot handle anxiety, so they do this constant sort of moaning around whenever they face a crisis, and there's always sort of a crisis amongst them, and they use this crisis as a way of sort of unloading that stress onto you, and then they hope that you deal with that stress, or you regulate their emotions, or you regulate how they feel so that they can feel better about themselves. Now, this is huge because this ends up being this sort of thing that is either coming from childhood where they experience some sort of anxiety or issues and never learned to deal with it. So they've always had people around them to deal with it for them. So therefore, that ends up being this sort of way of them feeling assured that that person is there for them, that person loves them, and that becomes that sort of love language to them. And I know if you've read the Book of Five Languages, it's probably not what's been included, but it almost becomes that, because when you desperately trying to deal with their issues, whether it be emotionally, or whether that they feel tired, or whether you're now sort of running around the house dealing with different issues, whether it's housework or dealing with children, the more you try and resolve some of those anxieties, things that are causing them anxiety, things that are causing them stress, the more you find there's more things that are happening. And I've spoken to countless of guys, and they say it doesn't matter what I do, it never seems to be enough, because there's this sort of expectation that if I can resolve these anxiety, if I can resolve these stresses, then because I've resolved it, it then should translate in us having a better connection, more intimacy, and then having better sex life. And from what I've just said, and if you've been through this situation, you probably realize that it doesn't matter what you do, it won't help the situation. So if you want to learn how to actually resolve this bit of the anxiety and what we've done to resolve this, go to www.deadbedroomrevival.com. Again, it's www.deadbedroomrevival.com, and we'll share with you some trainings that will help you to start dealing with some of this stuff, especially the anxiety, and how to start helping your partner have the tools to deal with anxiety and stress. We will be also delivering video trainings on the Facebook group, so we'll be able to direct you from www.deadbedroomrevival.com. We'll be able to get a link that will take you to the Facebook group. We'll be showing you these trainings via video as well. So being able to deal with anxiety becomes giving them the tools to deal with anxiety becomes one of those things that once they're able to start coping with day to day and have those tools, because this is one of the things that is a thing that is pretty new within our space, where we're now really being able to understand more what depression is, what anxiety is, what stress is, and it's becoming more apparent that doctors are quite happy to just give you medication. And what's weird about that is that some of the medications that deal with those things also attack the libido of a woman, even men as well. So again, it's almost like this weird thing that if you can start dealing with the anxiety of somebody and giving them the tools to deal with anxiety and stress, that can actually either help them to get off medication. That's one thing, if they are already on medication. And if they are not on medication, that will actually start helping them to really be able to control things within their life. And a lot of it is caused by that they've always had somebody who showed them how to handle things or handle things for them. And they've also equated that to love. So again, this becomes a very weird cycle where you're constantly trying to make them feel loved by doing things for them, but therefore it's never enough to translate also within the connection of sex and relationship and seduction. So hopefully that actually made sense, and you understanding that if you can give them the tools to handle anxiety and stress, it will help you massively, especially even on the interactions where you are resolving conflict, because you know that as you are trying to resolve conflict, the levels of anxiety and stress will go up, and that person becomes very irrational when it comes to actually having the conversation. So you never really get anything resolved, because sometimes you can get to a point where it's not even worth the stress. You're just better off suppressing what you want to say and then letting things slide, which is a terrible way of doing a relationship, because whenever you suppress, then that just means that you're just taking the bulk of all the shit. So again, giving them those tools, it means that you can be a couple again. You can really deal with situations as they come, and by dealing with those situations, you inadvertently actually start building your intimacy as well, because part of being the intimacy is that the road to intimacy is filled with thorns. I've read that somewhere, I don't remember where, but the actual thing about intimacy is actually this conflict resolution, where you start finding out how certain situations affect the other person, or how they deal with certain situations. Actually helps you to understand them more, which then in turn helps you to be more intimate with them, because you now know them in another way. So they as well, by doing them by that way, it gives you a space where you can be comfortable to be more of yourself, where you don't have to hide or suppress or be, putting stuff under the carpet, or because you don't want to deal with things head on. And I know this is a real complex subject that I'm trying to condense into 10 minutes. And it's one of those that is, if I could unpack this, we could be talking about this for the next month pretty much, because there's layers and layers to this. So therefore, that's why it's important for you to go and join us on deadbedroomrevival.com, where we're going to redirect you to your Facebook group. And when you get to the Facebook group, we'll be delivering more of these trainings, especially this topic about anxiety and how you actually can deal with your own anxiety and stress. And when you can do that, it means that you can make better decisions, be cooler with better decisions, not just in your relationship, but in life as well. So thank you very much for listening. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'll be seeing you very soon. Take care.